Successful splashdown for Cardiff, trotting past Bolton and taking one big leap towards the Championship. Mission almost accomplished. The Devon derby was a ding-dong that kind of went wrong for both, in a way. Stevenage of Hearts are in the heart of the playoff picture as Revell's binary code cracks League One. 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, and lots of stress down the bottom. Could Wimbledon be tumbling down? And are we feeling Orient about Orient?
Nope, that's the worst.
Welcome to NTT20 Podcast, League One Recap, sponsored by Sky Bet and Sky Bet EFL Building Foundations Fund.
Orient isn't a word.
Could be.
So that is
Language continuously evolves. Cardiff 2, Bolton 0. Now, I put it to you, there was quite a lot of pressure on Cardiff before this game. The points tally still gave lots of comfort and confidence, but winless and goalless in their last 3 home games before this, only 2 wins from their last 8 matches overall, and Bolton coming to town. If they were nervous or wobbly, it didn't look like it, because literally in the first minute, Cardiff put together the sort of delightful passing move that in this league only Cardiff can do, involving most outfield players and ending with a shot by Kellyman saved by the keeper. And that really set the tone. Miles the better side in the first half. Bolton didn't have a single shot, but they didn't score. So you head into half-time and the opposition have a chance to make changes and maybe your nerves have a chance to take hold. But it didn't look like they got nervous. And Bolton certainly didn't gain confidence or get a further foothold in the game. When the goal comes, you have to laugh as to how it comes, George, because I went somewhat viral. Your words, not mine.
Did you?
Last week, when pointing out that if you look at all 4 of the top divisions in English football, the team that have scored the most set-piece goals in each division are the likely title winners. That's Arsenal, that's Coventry, that's Lincoln, that's Bromley. Oh, Arsenal might bottle it. Fine, but you take my point. And then there's Cardiff, who are second in League One, and who, before the weekend, only one team had scored fewer set-piece goals than Cardiff. So Brian Barry Murphy, such a purist, denouncing the current adoration and trend for set-piece goals and trying to do it the proper way. That's being said tongue-in-cheek. Don't come at me. It was a free header from a corner scored by Omari Kellyman. Like, they saw that tweet and thought, oh, we can score set-piece goals, and they can help. A Chris Willock special finished it off 2-0. Just stepped up here, Cardiff, with a really big display, dominant and victorious. They are very clearly the second best team in League One this season, and the champagne is on ice. They could seal promotion this week. They would need to win at Huddersfield on Tuesday, and Stockport would need to drop points at AFC Wimbledon. We are going to do a podcast called Under the Lights on ntt20.com for paid subscribers only, and there is a chance we may be talking about a Cardiff promotion in midweek if that's of interest to you.
Yeah, and I can't shake this just like slight concern about Bolton given their fixtures between now and the end of the season. Obviously, the win against Plymouth was crucial, and the draw against Stockport was okay. And I guess the fact they picked up 4 points from those 3 games and are still not out of it, but it's just, it's a big gap. I know it's a big gap to Argyle, but the fixtures are just still pretty bleak for them, where they host Stevenage next, and they host Huddersfield, and they go to Bradford, and they got Luton on final day. They're obviously a good team, and they should find the win. And I'm not sitting here saying I don't think they're going to finish in the top 6, but I think there seems to be a general perception that it's done. I don't think it's done.
Bradford 0, Stevenage 1. Massive result for Stevenage. And in the context of going to Valley Parade, who had won 15 of 20 games at home this season, won 13 of their last 15 last season. So the record was 28 home league wins in 35 games. Stevenage went there and they did what they do, and that's win 1-0. This is getting quite funny now. Probably not for some of the other teams in the league, and probably not if you're one of the teams that Stevenage have beaten recently, but in their last 8 league games, 7 of them have been either 0-0 or 1-0 either way. 5 of them have been Stevenage 1-0 wins, 1 of them a draw, and 2 defeats in that time. They have scored 6 goals in 8 games and accrued 16 points from those games, and that has them very nicely nestled in 6th spot right now. Dan Kemp was the man what won it. He did so against Reading. He did so here against Bradford as well. 13 Bradford shots to 3 from Stevenage, but the same scoreline that Stevenage have rattled out a few times over the last few weeks. And the look, the defensive shape is genuinely sensational. Bradford's shots were pretty low quality overall in general, particularly in the first half. They were really struggling to break Stevenage down. A lot of shots blocked. And then when they really need their keeper, they've got a really good one in Philip Marshall. There he was, making 2 top draw saves in the second half to secure them a 1-0 win. It was the perfect day for Stevenage because they now have a 4-point lead over 7th spot with a game in hand as well. This game, Bradford-Stevenage, 3rd v 6th, if the playoffs started tomorrow, would be a playoff semi-final across 2 legs, which from a entertainment standpoint possibly would have to be one for the real EFL heads among us. But we will be there if that is indeed the playoff semi-final matchup. George, Plymouth 2, Exeter 2 in a crazy Devon derby.
Yeah, 0-0 at half-time, with Argyle having the better of the game, but Exeter remaining or staying strong and keeping them out without creating too much themselves. That changed very quickly in the second half, with Reece Cole opening the scoring with a nicely taken goal. Just after half-time, in front of the away end, brilliant celebrations there. Laurent Tolai equalised for Argyle with 10 minutes or so to go, and then just a mad last 5 minutes with Jaden Wareham scoring with a couple of minutes to go. A bit of a howler from Connor Hazard, who should have made the save and instead kind of parried it into the corner of the goal, and sparking proper limbs in that away end. Like, what a huge goal that would have felt like to Exeter fans for their survival probability, for really driving a nail into Argyle's playoff dreams. Only for Malachi Boateng to score in injury time. And it was kind of funny because even though... What?
In like such absurd circumstances.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
Well.
Another ridiculous set piece goal.
Ball gets
incredibly scrappy
onto him on the ground. I mean, it is one of the most sickening ways I can imagine a derby match ending, because it's not just the manner of the goal and what it means for your survival hopes, but also Wareham's chance minutes before at 2-1, which he puts wide, one of the most reliable finishes in the league this season.
And and there's also the fact there was a weird, because obviously the Wareham goal itself is like delirium for Exeter, dreamland. Yeah. But Argyle's goal, it's great that we've equalised, it's great we're not going to lose, but it's still a bad result, and it still doesn't do a great deal for their top 6 probability. And also,
I was going to put it to you, this result is like genuinely unhelpful for both teams,
and
which is a very rare and therefore quite nice occurrence.
And as we get onto it, you consider what happened down the bottom. It's a pretty disastrous weekend really for Exeter,
right?
With a couple of teams sitting directly above them both winning. I know there are a couple that lost too, but it feels like a couple of teams that were really in it kind of took themselves away from it. So it's kind of funny seeing the jubilant scenes in front of the away end, and then when Boateng scores, it's kind of get the ball, trot back up the pitch again, and hope you got enough time to make it 3-2, which they didn't.
And when it comes to Argyle, like, you know, it has been such a joy to watch them over the last few months. We've enjoyed the flying up at the table so much. You know, I've put them in my top 6 when we've done little mini predictions and stuff. But it is, I find it easy to forget that you have to keep doing that until the very end of the season, until the music stops. And in the EFL, it is unbelievably unusual for teams to maintain absurd runs of form for like 20 games. You know, at some point, generally, something stops you. And for Argyle, maybe it's this, because that was not a game they would have expected in which to drop points. Have Exeter found something under Matt Taylor finally after a big win, obviously last time against Donny, and then this draw? Possibly it might be too late. They have only 3 games remaining. Some of the teams above them have 4, including the 2 that they are now closest to in Orient and Wimbledon, who we'll get onto in a second. In terms of that playoff picture, again, perfect weekend for Stevenage because Argyle dropped points. They'd have been worried about Argyle. They might have been concerned about Huddersfield after Huddersfield's win in their last game, but Huddersfield draw 3-3 with Wycombe, a game with insane injury time drama for the 3rd straight Huddersfield match since John Stead stepped in to take charge until the end of the season in the absence of Liam Manning. he's gone full like chaos ball. Nathan Lowe put Wycombe ahead against a run of play, and what a brilliant goal it was, by the way, running the half the length of the pitch and finishing really well, showing good pace where Barley Mumba certainly didn't. Ledson scored a beauty for 1-1, then Harness got Huddersfield ahead at the back post. A Connor Taylor header had Wycombe level. Then they hit the post, and then Harness put Huddersfield ahead in the 96th minute. Great feat and finish, and I thought it was going to be the third Huddersfield injury time goal in 3 games to get them either a win or a draw. But then ball delivered in, and big Bradley Fink. Been waiting for him to have a big moment in a Wycombe shirt. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the goal, but he won a massive header and headed it across for Nathan Lowe to score his second 3-3 draw in the 101st minute for Wycombe, after Huddersfield had gone ahead in the 96th minute. That's after, over Easter weekend, Huddersfield scored a 106th minute winner at Orient and a 96th minute equaliser at Reading. It's pretty nuts, this. With Stevenage winning, this is, again, a bit like the Exeter-Argyle game. Not great for both, really. Huddersfield's chaos ball might have been fun for the last few games, but they're now 5 points off. They've played a game more than Stevenage. They've got Cardiff at home tomorrow night and then Bolton away. You feel like they need to win both of those games to make it interesting heading into the last 2 weeks of the season. Reading, another playoff chaser that have just dropped away in the last couple of games. They lost at Doncaster. It's a big win for Donny. They were part of that group of teams that suddenly would have been feeling a little bit wobbly, but this was a deserved win. They were the better side. It likely secures their position in League One. They are 6 points above the relegation zone, and there are 7 teams beneath them and the relegation zone. Really topsy-turvy season for Donny, hasn't it? They started pretty well, then had an almost historically bad run. Only Lincoln have scored first in more League One games this season than Doncaster Rovers. What that means, we'll have to talk about another time. But there are people like me, I know Substack Sam, he was the one that provided this stat. Like, obviously, you have to then see games out. Obviously, there are intangible qualities to a team that maybe Doncaster have struggled with, and that's why they haven't turned those leads into something. But I also think that is, or could be, with a few tweaks here and there and a slight change of approach and mentality and a few different faces and voices, I still believe there is a pretty good side here with Donny. Reading's Nightmare Easter continued here, basically. They're 5 points off Stevenage now, having played 2 games more. Probably time to start planning for the summer and summer recruitment, and they're in that interesting situation that I've mentioned a couple of times where Liam Richardson came in, got results, flew up the table into playoff contention, but it doesn't feel like the fan base of that bought in. See what happens there. At Wembley on Sunday, Luton beat Stockport 3-1 in the Hatters Derby to win the EFL trophy. So big congrats to all involved at Luton. It was from behind as well. Sidibe scoring again for Stockport, and then Lawrence equalising. Nikki Wells at the double, cashing in some of that XG underperformance from league football this season. Most interesting thing for me was Kyle Wotton played at centre-back for half an hour because Olowu got injured and Stockport are missing almost all of their centre-backs. But congrats to Luton, just another chapter in the story of just an insane 10 or 15 years for Luton Town. When it comes to that playoff picture, George, obviously Stockport didn't play. They're 5th on 67. They've got 6 games still to play. Stevenage have 5 games left to play, also on 67. Then now that 4-point jump to Argyle, another point to Huddersfield, and Reading, another point to Luton, who have 5 games remaining. But again, we're looking at Stevenage now, and like, good God, have they solidified their position this weekend?
They are the biggest winners by miles at the weekend. Because if you consider first and second both won, Lincoln and Cardiff, the only team to win between 3rd and 11th was Stevenage. Wow. And that's because Luton, of course, played in the Virtue Trophy final. So, yeah, for them it was huge to see the 2 teams above them, because Stockport didn't play, in Bradford and Bolton both lose. Basically, none of the teams chasing them won. So, big one for them. It's not done yet. I mean, it basically feels like Stevenage are kind of inserting themselves into that group that need to be caught. But in doing so, Bradford, Bolton, Stockport still aren't kind of out of the woods yet. So it feels now, this is the clearest it's felt, and that it's good, the likely 4 are Bradford, Bolton, Stockport and Stevenage. But having said that, that's only because the team in 6th are kind of really cementing their place rather than the others doing much. So there's still hope for sure for Argyle, Huddersfield, Reading and others. And I think when you look at the odds in terms of who's going to finish in the top 6. Stevenage have now gone heavy odds on, which is not surprising. But you still have Argyle there at 5-2 with Sky Bet to get in the top 6, which shows that it's by no means a foregone conclusion that they will be our 4.
Now, we talked a lot about Lincoln City last week on the Monday pod, on the bonus pod, how Lincoln City built a promotion machine the right way.
What a video.
Lincoln City, EFL's model football club. Oh, wow, numbers have absolutely flown on that. That bodes well. We've left them till now to mention that the party kept on rolling. They beat Orient by 2-1, which for Lincoln was just the extension of a really, really fun week, month, season. For Orient was actually pretty damn damaging.
Yeah. This was a fun game, and I think Lincoln games will be fun from now to the end of the season because they score a lot of goals, and they are going to cement themselves as champions pretty soon, but will continue to do so. Loved the goal from Jack Moylan to open the scoring. Beautiful touch and finish from the edge of the box into the bottom right-hand corner. What a player he is. Really excited to see him in the Championship next season. Forrest then diverted in a cross that came in from the right-hand side from, I think it was it Dirikwa? I think it was Dirikwa, but I can't remember for sure. After a decent run, Ballard headed Orient back in the game, and they had some chances, to be fair. Wickham's made a couple of really big saves, mainly from set pieces, to ensure that Lincoln won the game. So yeah, as you say, Lincoln not losing any ground to Cardiff in what isn't really a title battle, because we have to expect that Lincoln will win it and will hopefully go past the 100-point mark, 93 points from 42 games. But for Leyton Orient, that is no good. Couldn't capitalise on the fact they were playing against a team that had just been promoted. And with Burton and Blackpool rising above them, they're 3 points clear of the drop at the moment, albeit with a game in hand on Exeter, who currently occupy 21st.
Tell you who's a good goal scorer and an even better bloke, Don Ballard. Top goal scorer in League One, scored here with his head. Guess who put an interview with Don Ballard on the feed over the weekend? Me, I did that. In which we spoke about the fact that he scores loads of header goals, even though he's quite short compared to, for example, Kyle Wootton. Really, really good.
Very short compared to Kyle Wootton. I'd say he's quite short compared to the average person.
Right.
Incredibly short compared to a giant.
Yeah. Enjoyed it. Good talker, lovely lad. Do go and listen to that once you finish with this. Burton 1, Wimbledon 0. Certainly one of the most significant wins of the weekend, or results of the weekend, I should say, on the sort of significantometer, where in terms of the match itself, it's a 1-0 win, it's a long throw, it's Jake Beasley with one big leap, it's another big leap from Kyron Lofthouse to head home for the win, and it's massive for Burton, who were the team suddenly after Exeter's win on Easter Monday that you looked at and thought, oh my God, Burton, thought they were doing all right, but they're massively up against it here. They're up to 51 now, 4 points above Exeter, with 3 games to go for both. So Exeter would have to do pretty well to get above Burton, but maybe more significantly, going above Wimbledon as well, who are now, along with Orient, on 50, only 3 points above Exeter and 1 beneath Burton and Blackpool. It's panic stations for Wimbledon, surely. I mean, 1 point from their last 7 games. They haven't scored in 4 matches. They have absurd injuries at the moment, which means in their 3 at the back formation, the 2, they've got Steve Seddon playing left centre back. That means he can't play left wing back, where he's been basically their best player this season. They're missing so many players at the top of the pitch that they've had to break up their really high performing midfield unit that had been doing really well for a couple of weeks and months. And at the top of the pitch, they're missing Bugle and Stevens. It's really, really tough scene for them. They have a chance in midweek. They are playing at home to Stockport. They have a chance to pick up points without some of the teams around them playing, and we will wait and see what happens there. We will be doing, as I said earlier, an episode of Under the Lights for our paid subscribers on ntt20.com, going through all the major stories from midweek. Blackpool got a huge win, 3-1 at home to Peterborough. A really nice set-piece routine led to Dale Taylor scoring, the first of a brace for him. They conceded, a bit of an Icarus concession, but a really nice take from Brendan Keller, Peterborough's midfielder. Any sort of half-time nerves at 1-1 were settled by Husband's assist to Bloxham, who made it 2-1. CJ Hamilton to Taylor for the 3-1 goal. Horsfall with a late red card, but Blackpool up to 18th. They've won 4 straight home games just when it felt like they were spiralling. But very sadly, this match was delayed due to a medical emergency in the crowd, and the club confirmed later on in the weekend that supporter Graham Sharman suffered a medical emergency in the second half of the game, and despite the best efforts of medical professionals, he sadly passed away. And may he rest in peace, and we send our love to all connected with him, his family, and Blackpool FC as well. Wigan got another big win, 2-1 at home to Mansfield. Callum Wright and Joe Taylor continuing good form. They've looked a much more lively attacking team under Gary Caldwell, who has 6 wins in his 12 games as manager, 3 draws and 3 defeats for 21 points. They are 15th now. Another team like Blackpool, who just a few weeks ago it felt like might have been doomed. There was certainly a lot of doom and indeed gloom among the fan base. Caldwell's done a serious job here. They are 5 points clear and they've got a game in hand over Exeter. They will be in League One next season. I'm pretty confident of that. Rotherham probably won't be. Rotherham, let me rephrase that, almost certainly won't be. They lost 3-1 at home to Barnsley. Adam Phillips strikes a lovely ball, doesn't he? Scored to put Barnsley ahead. Tom Bradshaw, who has not scored 2 goals very often recently, scored to make it 2-0 and 3-0 before a late Sam Nombe penalty. I think Conor Harahan probably needed a good day after 4 draws and 2 defeats in his last 6 games. Now, Rotherham could get relegated in midweek despite being 22nd in the league table. That's a quirk for you, George. If they lose tomorrow night, there'll be 13 points adrift of Wimbledon and Orient, with only 12 points available to them. They could be relegated before the 2 teams beneath them in the table. That's unusual. And it means that when it comes to the relegation picture, it all hinges on the midweek games in which Wimbledon play Stockport and Orient play Mansfield. They are both home games. Exeter will be sitting at home watching. Then the onus will be on Exeter in their home game on the weekend against Stockport, and then away at Burton. Let's face it, if Exeter don't win either of their next 2 games, it probably won't come down to the final day. But it's been pretty messy, pretty chaotic, and we've seen a lot of zigging and zagging so far in the League One relegation battle, so there could be still more to cover here. Thanks for listening to this League One recap. League 2 in the Championship, wherever you found this one. Cheers. Go well.